Hey, what is going on, guys? JT Dragonlord here, bringing you guys another Theros spoiler episode. I was gonna do these every Sunday, but so many cards been spilled recently that I decided to throw up a video on Thursday. So let's get right into it. Let's start off here with Archeron Crusader. He's 1 red for a 1/1 human soldier with the ability Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets him, you get a 1/1 red soldier token with haste on the battlefield. And I think this card's really good. Well, I don't want to say really good, but it's good. Like, it's 1 red for a 1/1, which isn't bad. And then when you target him, you get 1/1s with haste. Now, when I read this card, I'm not really sure things I can target him right now that would make him really that amazing. But what I see in his potential is, like, pump spells. Like, turn 1, you play the Crusader. You know, turn 2, you play a Forest, Giant Growth him. Now he's a 4/4. He creates a guy with his Heroic ability. You swing for 5 turn 2. And you do stuff like that. Like, you have, like, 4 of them in play, and then you play, like, oh, each to target 4 creatures, they get +1/+1, and then you get 4 guys, and then you swing. I mean, spells like that are where I think this guy is going to be good. Alright, guys, next we got Chained to the Rocks. It's a 1 white enchantment aura that enchant mountain you control. When Chained to the Rocks enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until Chained of the Rocks leaves the battlefield. So when I see this card, I think I don't like it for one reason. Because it says Enchant Mountain. If this card was Enchant Land, I think it'd be amazing and it'd be really good. I mean, it'd be played, but it wouldn't be overpowered in my opinion. Because we've dealt with things in Standard that did similar things to, like, Path to Exile. And even kill spells we have now, like Dreadbore and stuff. I mean, they're only 2 mana to get rid of a guy. So I wouldn't see this being overpowered because you can just get rid of it and then you get your guy back. So this card would not be overpowered in my opinion if it said Enchant Land you control. But because it says Enchant Mountain, it's just a little too, specific in what it can do. So I just don't think this card is very good in my opinion. Next we got Curse of the Swine. And first of all, I love this card by the way, but let's get into what it does. It's X, blue for a sorcery. Exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 2/2 green boar creature token onto the battlefield. Now, when I first read this card, I was like, oh my god, it's blue exile. And that's exactly what it is. It's a way for blue to answer the board, and I love that. And, it doesn't actually get rid of all the creatures, it just turns them into 2/2 boars. But, I think this card is still very good. Maybe not so much for Standard. But this has a lot of potential in EDH, like Commander, because, blue doesn't really have a lot of answers. It has, like, Rapid Hybridization and Pongify, but other than that, blue doesn't really have a way to answer creatures. So this card is a way for blue to get some board control. It leaves behind boars, but, 2/2 boars are a lot easier to deal with, instead of other, giant fat creatures, like Thragtusks and stuff. It just turns Thragtusk into a boar, which is awesome. So I think this card is very good. I'm excited for it for EDH, but Standard I don't think it's that powerful for. Alright guys, next we got Elspeth, Sun's Champion. She's 4 colorless, 2 white for a Planeswalker. She's obviously Elspeth. She starts with 4 loyalty. She has +1 to put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens on the battlefield. -3 to destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. And -7. You get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2, and have flying. Now, this card was obviously highly anticipated because, the new Elspeth. We look at the previous 2 Elspeths, they were both very good. And this one does not disappoint as well. I think this card is very good. Maybe not for Standard. I think she's a little bit too high for Standard. But, she does have -3 to destroy all creatures of power 4 or greater. And when she drops out turn 6, that's going to do a lot of damage, so she could make it in Standard. But I'm looking at this card as more of an EDH card, and for that, I love it. I have a 5-color Planeswalker deck, and this card is going to fit right in. It does 2 things that I want my Planeswalkers to do. It has built-in self-defense by putting in 3 dudes, and -3 to destroy all creatures of power 4 or greater, so she's a little bit of a nuke as well. So I think this card is very powerful. I think it's mostly going to be more of a EDH card. She could make it in Standard, don't get me wrong, I'm not entirely sure. But overall, I think this is another great Elspeth, and I am really excited to get one. Up next, we got Gift of Immortality. It's 2 colorless, 1 white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. When an enchant creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Return Gift of Immortality to the battlefield attached to that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So I think this card is actually really awesome. It's 3 mana to enchant your guy. When the creature dies, it returns to the battlefield under your control. And at the end of the turn, Gift of Immortality bounces back on the creature. So this is very easily abusable. I know Thragtusk is leaving standard, but could you imagine throwing this on a Thragtusk? Oh, you know, turn 4 Thragtusk, turn 5 Gift of Immortality. If you kill Thragtusk, it doesn't matter. I get my 3/3 Beast. Thragtusk comes back. I gain 5 life, and the Gift of Immortality bounces back onto Thragtusk. It's absolutely amazing. You know, enter the battlefield and leave the battlefield creatures with this card is awesome, and they're very easily abused. So you know, I can't really think of any other ones off the top of my head except for Thragtusk for standard at least. But you know, this card has amazing potential in standard, in EDH, and honestly everywhere in my opinion. Up next, we got Heloid, God of the Sun, and he's pretty good. He's 3 colorless and 1 white for a legendary enchantment creature god. He's indestructible. And as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, he isn't a creature. Other creatures you control have vigilance. And 2 and 2 white, put a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. Now, first of all, I love his art. His art is amazing, by the way. That's my opinion, of course. But I think this card is not that bad at all. Like, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the, oh, this creature isn't a creature thing unless you have this. But this guy's pretty good. Even if he's not a creature, he gives all your other guys a vigilance, and you can pay 4 to put in a 2/1 token on the battlefield, so that's not bad at all. And then as soon as you have, actually, he already counts towards 1 to your devotion, so all you need is 4 other, you know, white mana symbols, and he's a 5/6 indestructible. You know, that can make dudes, and, you know, he's awesome. I don't think he's honestly the most powerful because, you know, he comes in basically as an enchantment. But I think this guy's really, really good. I like the fact that he gives everyone vigilance and that he can make dudes. I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the devotion thing, but all in all, I think a pretty good card. Alright, guys, bear with me as I murder this card's name. Nycteros, whatever, Shrine of Nyx, legendary land, tap it, add a colorless to your mana pool. 2 tap, choose a color, add to your mana pool an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion of that to that color. So add X to your mana pool, X is the devotion of the chosen color. There, that's easier to say in my opinion. So, this card, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like it has a lot of potential, but I don't know how much. Because a lot of standard decks right now are like, you know, Judd mid-range and Naya mid-range and that kind of stuff. So, I'm not really sure what this thing can do, but a lot of people are saying maybe like some sort of Goblin deck will want this. Maybe like Legacy Goblins or something may want this, but EDH, I'm not sure where it's going to sit either. This card has a lot of potential, and I'm not exactly sure how much it can do, but I'm extremely excited to see. Alright guys, up next we got Nyla, God of the Hunt, 3 colorless, 1 green, for a 6/6 indestructible. As long as your devotion to green is less than 5, it doesn't have a creature. It's not a creature anymore, I mean. Other creatures you control trample, and 3 in a green, target creature gets +2/+2, till end of turn. I think this one is bad. I don't like this card at all. I mean, it's 4 mana for 6/6, which is, you know, good, but you need to have the devotion to even make it a guy, and I don't think you're going to have it turn 4. Other creatures you control trample isn't that huge of a deal, and it's 4 mana to give target creature +2/+2, I think is awful. Like, it's not even worth it. It's just bad. It's just really, really bad. And I mean, it is indestructible as well, but I was actually really excited to see the green gog. I thought it was something to do with, you know, fighting or something, but no. I'm extremely disappointed with this card. I'm not going to run any EDH. I don't think Standard is going to touch it. Obviously not Modern or Vintage. I think this card is all around a bust, and I don't like it. Next, we've got Read the Bones. It's 2 colorless and 1 black. It's a sorcery. Scry 2. Then you draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. When I look at this card, it's kind of, you know, kind of like a standard black draw spell. When I think of this card, I think it's better than Sign in Blood, because Sign in Blood was 2 black. Target player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. This is only, it's 3 mana, which is, you know, 1 more CMC, but it's 1 less black and 2 colorless. So it's easier to cast, and you get to do more. So you get to, you know, look at your top 2, decide if you want one of them or none of them, you know, put some on bottom if you want. And then you get to draw 2. So it allows you to, you know, you can dig 4 cards deep if you put 2 cards on bottom, then draw 2. It allows you to go 4 cards deep in your deck, and I think that's really good. I'm excited to run this in EDH. Standard, I'm not sure people are going to run it too much. I think people are going to run it. I think it's a good card. I see it going in Standard. I see it going in EDH, potentially Modern. I'm not sure. But I like this card a lot, and I'm glad it's being printed. Alright, guys. Next, we have Thoughtseize. A lot of people are very excited this card is back. I'm one of them. It's a very good card. So let's see what it does. It's 1 black for a sorcery. Target player reveals his or her hand and chooses a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You lose 2 life. So this card is 1 mana to get rid of any card in your opponent's hand, and you lose 2 life. So, I mean, this card's actually very, very powerful. Usually, discards come at restriction. Like, Duress is, you know, non-land, and it's something else. I know, like, Inquisition of Kozilek was, what, 4 or greater, and there's things that are 3 or less, and there's things that only hit creatures and planeswalkers, and usually all these discards have restrictions. This one's not. This is just you lose 2 life, which isn't even that big of a deal. So you play this card turn 1, you get to see what your entire opponent's game plan is. Like if they're banking on you know, this one card coming out turn 2 to get them to turn 3 to turn 4, like, you know, to set up their game. Oh, you just bam, they just discard it, and that's very powerful. The best thing is it can't hit lands, but other than that, it's non-restrictive, and I think that's just the best part. All right, guys, this is the last card I have for you today. And it is Witch's Eye. It's a 1 mana artifact equipment. The equipped creature has 1 tap to scry 1, and it also costs 1 to equip. Now, I don't think this card is anything particularly good. By the way, its art is hilarious. I love how it's just an eye being handed over. But this card is not very good, but it's not bad. I think this card is going to have a lot of new players. A lot of new players are going to run this card. It's going to be good. Limited. This thing is going to be able to control your draw, which is good. I mean, good to say the least. So, this card's going to be pretty good and limited, in my opinion. Standard, no. Anywhere else, probably not. But, you know, this card is really cool. I like what it does. It's easy. It's simple to understand. And really, I think it's just an overall, just a really well-balanced card, in my opinion. And like I said, this is the last card I am reviewing today. I am going to bring you guys another spoiler episode on Sunday, so make sure you subscribe to my channel so you guys don't miss that. And anyways, guys, I'm JT Dragonlord, and I'm out.